Hello and greetings. Denise Fleck, the Pet Safety Crusader here, and I'm just delighted to take a few moments today to talk to you about the new fear-free concept. It's actually not brand new. It's been around for a number of years, and I'm hoping more and more of you will hear about it and adhere to it. We really want to make our pets' lives less scary than we have. And, even some of the experts and the best well-meaning pet parents aren't always realizing what we're doing because we can't completely put ourselves in our dogs or cats' paws. So I truly encourage you to read my blog that you see posted here over on the side. Please check that out. It was a story I wrote actually for the Pet Press, a fabulous Los Angeles-based newspaper, and it was the cover story for the summer, but I've reposted it on my blog, and I want to talk about some little different things in it today, but it was based on an interview with the fabulous Dr. Marty Becker, who I'm sure almost all of you know. He's known as America's veterinarian, and he is the father of the fear-free concept because, he started realizing what vets who thought they were doing only good for our best friends were actually doing, that we're terrorizing our animals, making a fractious cat even more scared, angry, and upset, and a scared little dog the same way. So let me talk to you about fear-free in that it's a new concept, not just for veterinarians. There are classes there for pet sitters, for animal trainers, for pet parents, for pet professionals of all type, so that we can all make the experience for our dogs and cats a better one. One of the main impetuses for it is that a lot of animals aren't getting the veterinary care they need because as pet owners, we think it's too traumatic to get them in the car and drag them to the vet for their annual checkup. Well, nothing could be further from the truth in that, good quality health care is a must, especially as our pets are getting older. So it's so important we find a way to get them to the vet. And what I want to talk to you about is, I'm going to let you read all the other stuff in the article and the blog, but what I want to talk to you about is what you can do at home each and every day or as a pet sitter to make their lives so much better. Since pets need to go to veterinarians to get care, to get shots, sometimes to get surgery, maybe just to be assessed and give you peace of mind to know that they actually are okay, we want to make that experience good. Cats in particular have a really tough time going to the vet. Realize when dogs go to the veterinarian, we'll talk about the car ride and the whole bit in a minute, but what is one of the first things they do as they're sniffing their way around the door? They relieve themselves. Cats don't have that opportunity in their crates, so they're generally coming in to be examined with a relatively full bladder that may even be nervous because of what's going to happen, that they don't even realize that's going to happen. So some of the things veterinarians are doing that are following the fear-free methods are these. Some are actually allowing the cats to stay in their carriers in the car until they're ready for the appointment. Now, some may be able to even come out and examine the cats in the car in the crate if it's safe. But I mean, we want to be careful about taking a cat out in a parking lot out of her crate in the car. So it's, they probably just wait there in most cases, but then they're brought in when it's time so that they're not sitting in that room that smells of dog, that smells of bleach, that smells of fear. When they get into their cat-specific room, the rooms have been wiped down with cat-specific pheromones. They're not smelling the awful bleach, they're not smelling the fear of the dogs, but they're smelling those cat-specific pheromones, which are calming. Some of the veterinarians are even playing special music for that species-specific, cats for cats, dogs for dogs, but it's attuned or actually played according to their resting heartbeat, which hopefully subliminally, and boy, I'm having trouble with words today, and physiologically, it's also putting the cat in a more relaxed state. Hey, Wendy, nice to see you join in. Additionally, foods and treats are being offered, but before we even get to that point, the carrier might be just placed down on the floor with the door open rather than grabbing the cat by her scruff and putting her up on that cold metal table, letting her come out in her own time when she's ready to. A litter box is provided to handle that issue that I was just speaking about, as well as maybe some foods we normally wouldn't give our kitty cats, maybe some Cheez Whiz, maybe some warmed shrimp or crab, but something that's really making the veterinary visit much more, of a delightful experience. So the same things are kind of done with the dogs as well, with the dog-specific pheromones being sprayed in the rooms. Even things down to the stethoscope and all the tools and the table are being wiped with these dog-specific pheromones or cat-specific in, cat rooms, so that the pets aren't experiencing the smell of fear from the animals that have come before them. Bleach is just such an awful thing. I know it's needed in many clinics and shelters and doggy daycare centers to disinfect. But when a dog gets a whiff of bleach in his nose, he's basically nose blind for about 3 days. And we know how our dogs rely so on their sense of smell. So these are just some of the wonderful things, as well as learning how to speak, cat and speak dog and better handle them, that veterinarians are doing to make the experience at the vet much more better for our dogs and cats. Hey, Scotty boy, nice to see ya. So what I want to chat with you, because like I said, you can go ahead and read my blog. I want to talk to you about some of the things you as a pet parent or a pet sitter can do at home to make this build up to actually getting into that fear-free veterinary office a good experience. Because very often, even with us, sometimes it's the anxiety, the build-up, rather than the actual experience itself. And what I want to encourage you to do with cats in particular is get them used to their crates at home, their carriers. Put a comfy pillow or a wonderful blanket in there, maybe some catnip or special treats or toys, but leave it in the living room with the door open, or your bedroom, so that it's not a scary thing that the cat is being captured in. This is so important for so many other things like disaster preparedness and all too. But you want your kitty to know that it's a safe haven, and that's an okay place to be. On the other paw with your dogs, whether it's the doggy seatbelt or his harness, do the same things. Have a treat in your hand as you're slipping that harness over his head. Let him know that it means car ride, that it doesn't mean, a bee sting in the behind, which is a vaccine at the vet's office. So once you get the dogs and cats more acclimated and familiar to these things, leaving that harness around, maybe spraying it with some good doggy pheromones on it, maybe even a little peanut butter or something. You don't want to make it too gooey, but let it be something good. When you then have the cat accustomed to the carrier, the doggy to the harness or the seatbelt, have them go sit in the car with you, strap them in, make them secure, maybe start the engine, play a little soft music if you like, but soft, please. Of course, if you're just sitting in the garage, make sure you have that door open. But just let them get used to the vibration for being in the carrier, the crate, for being in their harness, and letting that be a good experience. You can then next take it to the next step and just drive around the block. God knows Haiku loves going to the coffee drive-thrus and getting those puppuccinos, those cups of whipped cream, or going through the burger joint. Whatever it is, let it be a good experience, and then let them come back home. Something else I strongly encourage, you may want to check with your vet that it's okay ahead of time, but I'm sure most would be, more than willing, especially if they're a fear-free vet, is to actually go to the vet when your pet doesn't need to. Have the kitty come in, carry her in the carrier. Be careful how you carry those carriers. A lot of them have that nice little handle that make it easy for us, but realize when we're holding that plastic handle, the rest of the crate is swinging, and kitty's going for, quite the e-ticket ride. Oh gosh, did I just date myself? Nobody knows what an e-ticket is anymore anyway. All right, well, they're just going for quite the roller coaster ride as you're swinging that carrier. So, keep it more steady. Then just sit on a bench with the cat, feed her a few treats through the crate, let her take in the sights, sounds, and smells. Go home. Do it again, in a couple of weeks, so that every time she's experiencing that place, it isn't a bad experience. Same thing with your dogs. Bring them in there. If there's a scale in the waiting room, get the dog up on the scale. I know that's cold and that's stainless steel and it may smell like other animals, but get them through the practice of it. It also, yay, Scott, I think that means you know what an e-ticket is. I think by getting them on the scale, it's also a good way for you to, keep track of their weight, especially if you have a bigger pet that you can't weigh at home. But weigh the dog, go back to your seat, sit down, feed him a couple of treats, put him in a sit or a down, and when a few minutes pass, leave. Go back home, maybe get that puppuccino on the way home or that burger, or just, a good healthy treat. And, try it again in a few weeks or a few months, building up to that veterinary visit. Anything like this you can do that you can desensitize. Remember, we do all things to desensitize our pets. When the dogs are puppies, we go through training. We try to get them used to skateboards and bicycles going by, what a wheelchair is like, all kinds of noises, car horns. But we don't take any time to desensitize them to a place that might be considered scary to them, not just because of what's going to happen, but because of the fear exuded by other animals and the sights and smells and sounds. So anything you can do in this respect to practice going to the vet will really help lessen your pet's stress. The other big thing I really encourage you, and a lot of you that are watching, I know are really big advocates of doing this with your own pets and with your clients as well, but do a weekly head-to-tail checkup. If you have a bird, do a head-to-tail feathers checkup. If a snake, I won't say head to rattle, because hopefully the snakes you have aren't rattlers, but the idea is to get acquainted with the pet's body so that you can find something early on and get them to the vet before it becomes a nightmare. But secondly, to get that animal used to the human touch. This will make him such a much better customer at the groomer and an absolutely better patient at the vet. If he's used to having his ears looked into, not pulled or, distorted in any way, but touched and looked into, his tail stretched out, his paws felt, and the toes separated to be looked in between. When you have a dog that has a thorn in his paw or has a cut paw, and if you've never gotten him used to you touching it, it's a nightmare to even try to get bleeding to stop. So desensitize your pets. Let them know the human touch is actually a good thing by showing them how good massage can feel. Sometimes I do realize that puppies and kittens are a little too spastic and high energy, that they may not appreciate the massage as much as an older pet. Haiku, when Mr. Rico used to get massage, my dear friend Pam Holt, hey Pam, would come to the house and massage him. And Bonsai and Haiku, she would try on occasion, but they would kind of like take it or leave it. Well, now that Haiku is 13, he eats it up. He loves a good massage. So again, it's kind of an acquired thing too. I've heard another story of a masseuse, doggy masseuse, who came to heal a Sheltie that was having severe arthritis. And she immediately hid under the table when the masseuse started working on her. But after time passed, she grew to love those massages. So, since we don't speak dog or cat in the exact language that they do, I know we all try and we do pretty good jobs sometimes of understanding what's going on with our pets. There are just some things we can't relay to them. And like I talk about in disaster preparedness, they're not going to read the emergency plan. You can't give them the handbook. You have to take them through the steps. And the same goes for going to the veterinarian, getting in their harness, learning that their crate or carrier isn't a bad thing, and being touched all over. So I just want to leave you with those thoughts today that Dr. Marty Becker really has it right. Please, if you're in the Los Angeles area, pick up this summer cover story that I did on him about his fear-free protocol, or just very easily from your computer. You see it, the link is right here on this post. Take a read and make sure that when you're choosing a vet, or if it's time maybe to get a different veterinarian, that you're choosing one that is trained in the fear-free protocol. It's something so wonderful for, like I said, veterinarians, but all the rest of us can learn these techniques too. And I know Dr. Becker and his team are actually making their rounds around the country, so they may be in a city near you where you can learn some of these techniques as well. But do check out his fear-free website for a variety of classes for various species, and then just do your doggone best to take the time to make it an easier time for your pet, because thinking it's scary and then choosing not to have them checked out can really be a life-threatening thing for your very best friend. So we want to make sure they get the best health care needed and lots of TLC from you. So thanks for listening to all I have to say, and go hug that dog, go give that kitty ear scratches, and know that I'm hugging you long distance for all the good things you do for the animals in your life. Talk to you again soon, and remember, fear-free keeps the pet out of petrified.